Of course, the business community is also looking at investing in doing business in Nigeria. Part of what the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment is talking about this morning says the government is carrying out a lot of reforms, but it cannot be acclaimed or applauded until the business operators or business sector understands and use what the government is doing. But there are risks to doing business in Nigeria. So Alliance Nigeria has issued its 2019 key business barometer risk for 2019. And of course, the head of strategy research and projects at Alliance Nigeria is here, Ibitunde Balogun. Good morning. It's good to have you.
Thank you.
Let's read your barometer. I know it's quite extensive as a report as expected. Yes. But if you just give us highlights, where are the fault lines?
Okay, so essentially what we find in the risk barometer for Nigeria is that the top 3 risks facing most of our respondents was the market developments, the legislation, and interestingly, cyber insurance, cyber risks. So this is quite interesting for us that we are seeing cyber, coming so high in, the list of risks. Worldwide, we have business intelligence, business interruption, we have, cyber risk, which is quite expected because, it's been rising, gradually over the years. But, in Nigeria, seeing cyber so high is something that is very interesting for us. Also, there's a new risk that came in this year, which has never featured, which is reputation, brand reputation. It was very, very interesting for me that, people are now aware that, your brand, the reputation to your brand and damage to your brand can actually affect your business. So if you look at the risk barometer, you see that business interruption, cyber, and now the brand value are all linked together.
Reputational risk.
Yes, the reputational risk.
Very interesting that that is coming in Nigeria. But again, if you look at cyber, despite the size of our economy and the financial service industry, folks are worried about what happens to their money, what happens to their stocks, what happens to hackers and all of that. Just last week, Deloitte Nigeria issued a new report on Nigeria's cybersecurity for 2019. And you folks seem to be singing from the same hymn book here as far as cybersecurity is concerned. But look at regulation and what you call legislation. Why is this such a very recurring decimal when you talk about business risks in Nigeria?
Because, the regulator can make or break, the industry in terms of the policies they put out. This is also closely linked to the political space because we know that the regulators are more or less appointed by the government. So if you have a regulator who, for instance, comes in with a certain type of policy that can affect, drastically the way you operate your business,
action.
Then, that is a major risk for you. So you have in Ghana, for instance, there was a recent recapitalization of the banking sector. So there was a drastic reduction in the number of players. So that for a small fringe player is a major risk. So in whatever industry you have, in the petrochemical industry, there can be some regulation that comes in or legislation that can affect the way you do business, even for foreign people operating in the local economy. So that's why it keeps recurring because people are very, very aware that, legislation and regulation can affect the way you do business.
Do your respondents put figures to some of this?
Yes, so...
Does it cost them X, Y?
No, we don't go into that detail of how much it costs them, but we know how many of them, about 41% of all our respondents, are saying that, this legislation is very, very, very important for us. So that's why it came out as #1 in the risk barometer for Nigeria.
What about other top 5 business threats?
Okay, so the other top 5, there's some political risks as well that people, it has stayed, flat over the past 3 years. But, we were thinking that, pre-election year, we would get a lot of that. But, incidentally, it stayed quite flat. So there's political risk, there's theft, there's fraud, there's corruption, which, is in the top 5 as well.
Theft, fraud, and corruption still feature as part of the business risks for Nigeria.
Yes, they do.
Businesses are worried about corrupt practices?
Of course, they're worried about corrupt practices for their staff and even for some of their vendors and their customers. They're worried about
contractors, suppliers.
Exactly. They're worried about theft. They're worried about fraud, within the system. So these are, some of the major business risks that we see that, people are saying.
This survey covers what segment of businesses? Big, small, mid-size?
So it covers the wide spectrum, but, we had about 44 respondents from Nigeria. It's a worldwide survey. This is the 8th annual survey that Allianz Global Corporate Specialty does every year, and that's the arm of Allianz that, does the corporate and specialty business, aviation, oil and gas, entertainment. So it covers a wide spectrum, but in Nigeria, we focus largely on the financial services industry. So 31 out of the 44 respondents were from the financial services. And, because that is where we see some of the major risks, and these are the most active players, in.
Yes, because Allianz is in Nigeria. Now Allianz is in Nigeria.
Yes.
Welcome to Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
So, what are you folks doing here?
So we're doing life and non-life insurance. We're doing the wide spectrum of oil and gas, aviation, property, car insurance, home insurance, and we also do life insurance, savings, educational policies, the whole spectrum.
Financial services?
Yes.
So what's the attraction for Nigeria?
I mean, everyone knows that Nigeria is a very, very huge market. The economy is setting to grow at a very, very...
Yeah, but folks say there's no money in Nigeria. Times are hard.
Times are hard.
But you guys know how to make money.
There are always opportunities. In fact, it's when times are hard that the opportunities are quite apparent. So we see that there's a lot of opportunity to create products, to actually make tailor-made products that are suited for the people, that would even help them during these hard times. So that's why we see this as a huge market, and Allianz are very, very focused on growing this market.
Well, what's the outlook from your end for Nigeria, now that we see your signposts all over the city and getting across the country? So we welcome this international company doing business now in Nigeria's financial services space.
So the outlook for Nigeria is positive. We see that there's going to be a lot of growth in the retail, segment of the market, which is, largely untapped. So we see that, tending to the people who actually need our services the most, the most vulnerable, is where the opportunity lies. So the economic outlook we see is quite positive, and we see some, growth year on year for the insurance industry and in the insurance space in Nigeria.
Okay. Bitunde Balogun, thank you very much. Welcome to Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
You're a Nigerian, but of course, you still have to, on behalf of the company, welcoming Allianz to Nigeria. Of course, Allianz is one of the top global financial services company headquarters in Geneva.